It's June 4th and my pawpaw trees, most of them aren't even leafed out. This is a very old tree. This one flowered this year, and it's June 4th and the flowers are still on the tree. Check it out. Pawpaw flower. They attract flies and beetles. The notion that they smell like dead meat, it's not really true. It smells like dead meat to a bug. I can't smell, rotten meat, not dead meat. But you can't smell rotten meat, okay? And I've even smelled them up close. They don't smell like rotten meat to me. They probably smell like rotten meat to a bug or a beetle. There's a bug, a fly, actually on the flower. Can you see it? This flower, I actually, I have a, see the fly? This flower I actually did pollinate. I don't know if I did it right. I think I did it right. Because I have some smaller trees back there that I planted last year that they just happened to flower. And, so I used the pollen from those flowers and pollinated this flower. We'll see if we get a pawpaw. Here's an NC1 that flowered. Same thing. It's one of these trees that you plant it and then the following year it flowers early. So way too small to hold a pawpaw, so even if it did get pollinated, we're not gonna let it fruit out. It'd take too much energy away from the tree. The fruit would be bigger than the tree. There's no way. Potomac that flowered early. It flowered early. I think it had flowers on it in real early May, like over a month ago. So there is a possibility that my largest tree, which is the first one that I showed, that one could have fruit. And it's very small. It's not a big tree. It's right under 6 foot, but it could probably hold some fruit. This is an NC1. It's a pretty little tree. See, here's a plant that I planted last year, and it flowered. Now this is way too small to have pawpaws on it. It is. It's a graft. I believe it's a graft. Let's see. Yes, it's a Shenandoah. So I took pollen from one of these flowers, and that's what I pollinated the one up there with. But I have several plants that did this, that I just planted, and they ended up flowering. Once again, it is June 4th in New York State. Pawpaws drop their leaves later than a lot of the trees, not as late as like the peach trees, but later than everything else just about. So they're the slowest to get started, and they're the last to drop their leaves. They're pretty flowers, right? They do not smell like dead meat, only to a bug. It's June 4th, and this is a Rappahannock, and this is one of my favorite plants, and the trees. The reason why is I really like the leaves. The leaves have this, on the Rappahannock, all Rappahannocks sort of the leaves curl. And it really has a sort of jungle look to it when it starts leafing out. It's a tropical looking tree that doesn't live in the tropics. But this is a very pretty tree. I like this tree a lot. This is one of the trees that really didn't do good at first. I planted it in the fall, and then come springtime, it dropped everything, and I thought it was dying. And then it came back, and some of these pawpaws, they get a slow start, and then they just take off. This is one of my first trees, but I mowed it over with a lawnmower, and I think that I kept mowing it over, and then I think three springs ago, I noticed it, growing. So I put rocks around it and made sure not to mow over it again. This is as old as the one out there that's 6 feet tall, but this one's probably only a little bit over 3 feet tall. Same thing happened to this pawpaw. This is one of my older trees. This is 4.5 feet tall or something. This one really didn't do well. It didn't do well, and then I mowed it over by accident. And I didn't think that, you know, I think one summer it grew an inch or something like that. It got 2 leaves and that's all it did. But it's doing fine now. This is one of the seedlings that I got, which comes from a strain from Michigan. That was when I thought, you know, I should get pawpaws that do good up north. And, you know, because I'm in zone 5. I'm 5B, or yeah, I think I'm 5B. And so I got this with some other seedlings, thinking that, you know, that was important, and it's not. If it's a pawpaw, it's going to grow in the zones listed. Some people are even growing pawpaws in zone 4, and there are wild pawpaws, I believe, in Ontario, Canada. It's a tree that I planted in the fall. This is from Edible Landscape, or Edible Landscaping, whatever you call it, from Afton, Virginia is where the company is. And this is the best place to get pawpaws.